Hi crafters, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I am using the So Crafty stamp set from Tonic Studios. I'm going to be creating a card using not only the stamps but also the stencil that was made available with the set. I already shared with you in a separate video how I created the little spool that you can create as a 3D project using the dies, and it does open like so. I also shared in a live video the other one that I created that went out to a crafty friend in the mail who won it during that live video. I'm going to be using Nuvo Chalk Mousse, and this is a sample size, by the way, so if you do get some from Tonic Studios, it's going to be much larger than this. I'm going to take a spatula, and you can definitely pick these up also from Tonic Studios. I'm going to be applying this using the stencil onto a piece of 110-pound cardstock, and that is backed up with a piece of media mat. If you're not familiar with this, it's just a super awesome mat that you can use, also made available by Tonic Studios. There's actually even a newer version, and it wipes off very easily, so it's wonderful for messy projects. So I'm just going to start here by spreading this. And the difference between this type of mousse and the other types of mousse that are made available from Tonic Studios is, of course, the finish. So you can get embellishment mousse that is shiny. You can get crackle mousse. You can get this one, which does have, as it states, the chalk finish. And because I wanted to create somewhat of a shabby chic look on this card, then I figured I could make a background using this particular type. And you can see how easily it just spreads, and I want to use a thin layer, but you can make it as thin or as thick as you like, and you don't have to limit yourself to one color. You can certainly use more than one. I would just recommend, of course, that you clean the spatula in between colors so that you don't cross-contaminate your products. And once I have this all spread out, I will be able to lift the stencil, and I will, of course, have that pretty pattern on the background. Now, there's not a whole lot of mousse in this, but then again, this is a sample size, not a full size. To take my tape off very gently here, and I will be able to remove all of this just with lukewarm water because this is a water-based product, so it will allow for easy cleanup, which is of course really awesome, because if you just want to wipe it off with a baby wipe, you can even do that. So now I'm picking up my stencil, and I'll be able to remove it. And I'm left behind with this beautiful texture, and hopefully you can see it, but it's so very pretty. And I love that I now have this pink background with this lovely pattern all around. And again, I can definitely cut this down as a panel for the background of a card, which is what I'll be using it as today. And I'm just going to quickly spray the stencil with water, and I do have a little bit of alcohol on this water. This with my heat gun because I want it to be nice and dry so I can continue creating my card. If you're curious, I wanted to let you know that you can make a continuous pattern with this that would fill the entire page if you wanted to do that. What you would have to do is match up each individual pattern, however. So in this case, I would overlap this and find where I last applied the mousse and continue on that strip. As you can see, it's not going to be a one-step process, but you certainly can make longer strips using the same stuff. I've gone ahead and dried this, as you can tell, so now I can touch it and I don't have to worry about this spreading or getting damaged. Okay, so I often like to look at the die sets that I have from Tonic Studios just to see if one will complement another, and I always go back to this one. This is a designer's choice die set that came out well over a year ago, and it has become my favorite set of Tonic Studios because of its versatility. This is called Designer's Choice number 13, Luxurious Lace Strip. I've used it in so many mini albums, and what I found is that it has so many beautiful shapes that I think will complement what I already did here with the mousse. So I am thinking that I'm going to cut these into strips and then complement it with these pieces, and I'm going to see what I can come up with. So when I come back, I'm going to have it all cut out, and then I'll share with you how I will be using it.
Okay, so here what I wanted to show is that I went ahead and took a small panel. It was about, I think, 4¼ by 5½ inches tall. And what I did is that I did use that same stencil to dry emboss it. And I used a sponge, as you could see there, with the mousse to go ahead and color that piece of cardstock that had the dry embossing. It was very subtle and very pretty. However, because I did cut out that pink paper that I had embellished with the stencil and the embellishment mousse, I ended up covering the entire panel, so you won't be able to see any of that pretty dry embossing at the end. But here you see how I did manage to cut down every strip, and then I did use foam adhesive as well as Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And what I did was I alternated the height of these strips onto that background piece of paper. So I did one with the dimensional adhesive and one that laid flat onto that cardstock. And what it created was a really nice textured background where you can see that some of the panels do have cut in pieces from where I use the other die set from Tonic Studios, the Designer's Choice one. So it lent kind of this lacy feel to it without having to do too much, and I really enjoyed the outcome. I just went ahead then and cut away the excess of what I did not need once I had all of those little panels where I wanted them. And I took my time here, so I know the video sped up. I mentioned this a lot in my video tutorials that the speed that you see is not exactly how long it takes me to make a card. Um, and at the end, once I had it looking the way that I wanted, I took other die cut pieces from the same collection. I doubled some up, and then some were just on one single piece of paper. But I had a lot of fun decorating this card, just using as many elements as I could. And of course, at the end, using the embellishments from Tonic Nuvo as you've seen in other videos of mine. Now, some of these buttons, I went ahead and did use twine to thread through so that they could look like actual buttons. And I decided that as a little design feature, I would use that same twine and just thread along several of these in a vertical fashion. So you're going to see me adhere these to the background, and I remove the needle, of course, and any excess, and then just using the deluxe adhesive, I managed to go ahead and adhere these one after the other, taking my time to make sure that I line them up as I wanted to. And this die set was just so much fun to use. I've used it several times already, and I still have more cards to make with it because it is a lot of fun. And if I do get a request, then I make more for sale. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. At the end, you're going to see all of the pictures nice and clearly so that you can see how this looked once it was all said and done. Of course, if you need to reach out to me, you can reach me at paintsandglitter@gmail.com. Please feel free to leave a comment, a thumbs up, and let me know what you think of this card. And I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching.